In 2021, billionaires made over $5 trillion with a capital T. Just think about that number for a moment. That's more than the entire GDP of Germany, one of the world's most populated and advanced countries. 2,755 people made more money than the biggest economy in Europe, the wealthiest continent on the planet. The world is unfair and unequal, even among the billionaires. The top 10 billionaires earned $400 billion of that wealth. Just imagine how bad billionaires on the bottom of the list feel. Don't you feel bad for them? When you come across such numbers, it drives you crazy because making even $1 million is a big deal, leave alone billions. But why do only a tiny minority do end up making so much money? It's easy to point fingers and shout that they have just inherited their money, but let's be a little bit more realistic. Yeah, some of them did, but the fact is, none of the top 10 richest inherited anything. Of course, there are multiple reasons for their success, but it all comes down to a few basic principles. Once you understand them and find out how they work, you can set yourself on the path of wealth as well. It's not a step-by-step process. There isn't a clear guide to how to make a fortune. If there was, it would have been taught in business books. But MBA graduates usually just end up working in a 9-to-5 job like the rest. Nothing special. In fact, whenever you read biographies of successful people, you realize how unique and different has been the path of each entrepreneur. However, all of them unanimously followed a few basic principles. And the reason why most people aren't getting financially free is because of this very reason. They're not following the basic rules of growth. If you want to find them out, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. When I tell people that becoming wealthy is more about discipline and dedication, I get bombarded with claims that becoming wealthy is a matter of luck, and I love bringing examples of Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg. They've been in the right place with the right people and the right idea. But you don't need $200 billion to become financially free. Have you ever tried living on $1 million a year? That's literally enough to rent a mansion, drive a Ferrari, and travel wherever you want. To be honest, even a few $100,000 can do the job. The point is, stop looking at the top of the hierarchy. Be practical. Going from $50,000 or $60,000 to $300,000 is far more practical than comparing your net worth to Elon Musk's $300 billion. The truth is that if you were born just a few hundred years ago in a poor family, chances you would have gotten out of the poverty are close to zero. For most of history, the vast majority of people were farmers who had to work from early morning till night their entire lives just to pay taxes and survive. Just in the 19th century, 90% of the world's population were farmers. What were the chances that you could get rich when you didn't go to school, most probably couldn't read or write, and haven't seen anything outside the little village you grew up in? And by the way, there was no Google back then. However, today, regardless of your family background, you probably went to school, you have access to internet, and you can teach yourself anything you want from graphic designing to rocket science. On top of all of this, it has never been so easy to connect with each other. Back in the day, it was difficult to show your talent to the world. Today, all you need is a smartphone and access to the internet, which you most likely have since you're watching this video. So let's get rid of the idea that you need to be lucky to become financially free. The problem is that it is really easy to get to a comfort zone where you have a stable paycheck, and doing anything risky looks so ridiculous that it's easier to blame everything on outside factors such as luck. Most people don't understand the concept of exponential growth, for example, or snowball effect. When you get used to the fact that 1 hour of your time equals $20, for example, all you can see is that working extra 2 or 3 hours equals to extra $60 or $90. In the grand scheme of things, that doesn't make any difference. But that's not how growth works. Let's say your business grows by a factor of 2 exponentially, starting with $2,000 in the first year. The second year is going to be $4,000, which is normal. However, the surprising fact is that in the third year, instead of 6, it is going to be 8, then 16 in the fourth year, and so on and so forth. With each additional year, the growth gets bigger and bigger. Take the example of compound interest. Saving and investing $10,000 won't make you rich. Even if you do that for over 10 years, that is going to be $100,000. Even if you invest that money in an index fund, that would equal to $160,000. It is a lot of money, but let's be honest, it is not a life-changing amount. However, in the next 10 years, that amount would grow to $572,000. Now, that's what I'm talking about. In the first years, your investment would earn you an additional $60,000. However, in the next 10 years, they would earn $372,000. That's what exponential growth is all about. With each consecutive year, the growth expands. In the next 20 years, your $572,000 will grow to $4.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, $4.4 million. The biggest difference, however, happens in the last year, where in a single year, your money will grow by $412,000 in a single year. Yes, in a single year, you will earn more than you would in the first 10 years. Of course, 40 years is a really long time. No one wants to wait that long. But this is an extreme example where you save just $10,000 a year and invest it in a super safe asset. If you apply this concept a little harsher, you can expect far better results. If you ask any YouTuber about their YouTube journey, they will most likely tell you that getting their 1,000 subscribers was the hardest part, or getting their first 10,000 subscribers was much more difficult than their first 100,000. So whenever you are starting a business, mastering a skill, or building anything, do not get disappointed if you don't see any immediate results. That's absolutely normal. It is going to take time before you will see any real growth. When I started investing back when I turned 18, it seemed like it would take me forever to build a big enough portfolio, when my entire portfolio was just $300. But fast forward today, it is big enough to let it grow on its own. The exact same happened when I got into real estate. It took me forever to get my first client, but after building my client base, it got a lot easier. The same happened when starting this channel. I took YouTube seriously in 2017. It took me an entire year to get to my first 10,000 subscribers. But now the channel can get 10,000 subscribers in a week. I can give you countless examples, but I guess you got the point. The only problem is that you have to put the effort now, but the outcome will come much later. So if you're used to getting paid at the end of every month, it is really difficult to see the fruits of your labor years later.